Hi, Jonathan. So good to see you today.
Hi, Lydia. Thanks for having me. Good to
How are
talk to
you
you.
doing?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing great, and thank you for the amazing mini recital.
Oh, it was so fun to do it. Thanks for inviting me to share a little bit with you. Yeah.
Yeah, so we want to know you a little bit better. So that's why we have the interview. I think my first question would be, what is your first musical experience as a musician?
Okay. Well, let me back up a little bit. I guess since if people saw the recital already, I'm a saxophone player. So I'll tell you when I started playing. It dates me a little bit. So I started playing the saxophone, and I think it's like this for a lot of band kids in fifth grade. That's all the way back in 1996. So I've been playing
Oh wow!
saxophone for 25 years. So I'm old. I'm turning 36 this year. Not that old,
Woo!
in yeah,
Congratulations!
yeah. Woo! All right. But yeah, so I'm from Simsbury, Connecticut, so I started just playing in band there. And what's actually kind of funny is I wanted to play viola first, but there was too many viola players, which is weird, and there was like not that many saxophone players, so they're like, here's a saxophone instead. And of course, I ended up marrying my wife Megan,
Yeah.
chair of the music department of CHAW, who is a violist herself. So it's kind of ironic how that all worked out. But anyway, so that's when I started. Now, of course, like most people, my parents were sort of the first influence on like what music I was hearing as a kid. So I remember them putting on a lot of James Taylor.
Mm.
A lot of like they were into like REM. My dad was into like REM and like I remember like Hootie and the Blowfish, stuff like that. My parents' favorite radio station was WMBY, which is Martha's Vineyard. If you know where that is, it's like a popular like kind of vacation spot off of Massachusetts, off of Cape Cod. We used to go there every summer, so they love this station. It's kind of like wacky. It was like all sorts of different music. So I sort of heard a lot of things. And the first concerts I went to were at Tanglewood. So
Oh wow!
there. Oh, sorry, wrong
Yeah,
way.
I saw
There you
that.
can see it. So I was actually born in West Mass, but my parents went there every summer to see the shows. And James Taylor, of course, like lives there, and he would do a concert every summer. So I'd be there, and I'd hear the Boston Symphony a little bit when I was just a baby to like pretty much once I left the nest.
Yeah.
So that's sort of how I started. And as for listening, I think my first CD was the self-titled Sublime album.
Yeah.
Actually, I was really into Beastie Boys and all that. It was my age and demographic in the '90s. Like I was into all the alternative and grunge and stuff. But then I started listening basically since I was a saxophone player to jazz when I was like in middle school to high school, like Charlie Parker, John Coltrane, Sonny Stitt, Cannonball Adderley, those kind of guys. Miles Davis, of course. And then I didn't really take to classical music too much until I started knowing that I wanted to do music school, college, and then I started getting a little more serious. So I guess that's sort of like a musical background for you, but
Yeah,
there you go.
well, that's very interesting. So quick question: are you missing those outdoor music festivals since we've been
Yes.
a long
I
time?
mean, it was honestly, Lydia, it was really weird. Again, since my job is like my main job, I guess, is in the U.S. Navy Band. Like we always do the Capitol concerts, and then we also do what we call concerts on the Avenue by the Navy Memorial. It's by the National Archives.
Mhm.
We would do one. We do a Capitol and a Coda. We call them concert on the Avenue every week. And it was just like so weird this summer to just like that's like when we wear the whites and all that outside, and that just all flew by. It's just
Wow.
so yeah, it's so strange. But I'm guessing that this summer, like I bet more of those outdoors things are going to happen. I
Mhm.
would guess now that we sort of have a better understanding and people are getting vaccinated and stuff. But we'll see.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well, finger crossed.
I hope so. Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna move on to the second question. So I know you a little bit, so you're parents, right? So it's so hard to have some personal time in those days. But do you have any recently see or hear or read your personal favorite you would like to?
Okay, so you pitched me this question before, so I sort of came up with like a top five of at least listening because
Huh?
I'm a music guy, so sure. So I'll start with the classical stuff. So you might know, you probably know this player. Do you know Daniil Trifonov, the
Yes,
pianist?
yes.
Yeah. So I'm obsessed with his recording of Rachmaninoff Third Concerto with
Oh wow.
Philly. It's amazing. I like keep going back to it. It's just such a I never really dug into that piece, but
Uh-huh.
I'm like obsessed. I mean, I'm sure You probably love that
very,
piece.
very emotional.
It's amazing. Oh my God, that music is just it's it's chilling, man. Like all the way, all down the spine. But yeah, okay. So another classical piece that I'm planning to. I already transcribed it and I'm working on it and I'm probably gonna record it. I really love ripping off violin pieces. I did one on this recital, but the Maurice Ravel trio with the bow recorded by the Beaux Arts trio. It's like a piano. I don't know if you know it. Maybe you do. I don't know. It's a really beautiful piece. So piano, cello, and a violin, 4 movements. It's amazing. So I'm ripping off the violin part on soprano, and we're gonna try it.
Oh,
Maybe
wow.
later.
So you have someone singing with you guys as well.
Well, yeah. Something like I'll play it like I have a pianist friend that I record with all the time, and then a cellist friend too. So we'll give it a shot. We'll see how it goes with
Oh,
sax.
awesome. Quick question. So speak of recording, what kind of app or program you guys are using?
I use just a free one. I think it's called like Snapcaster or something on Google. It's like a free thing. Actually, I could probably pull it up.
Oh,
But
wow.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's easy. And I just bought a mic, like a nicer one, like kind of at the beginning when I realized I'm gonna have to do a lot of teaching and whatnot. Megan uses the same mic. We just bought like a pretty decent one, not amazing, but yeah, it's okay. It turns out okay. Just
Oh,
using my webcam and that. Yeah,
yeah.
nothing too
Yeah.
pro. But yeah, I guess just to round out though about the music question, for jazz, I really love this guy Donnie McCaslin. He's a sax player, and he has this album Casting for Gravity with like more electronics. It's really cool. If you're into like a little bit lighter jazz, that's really like catchy. There's this guy Raul Midon, and he recorded with the Metropole Orchestre. It might be from a couple years ago. It came on the Alexa one day, like in June or something. There's a song called like Sunshine, or like in quotes, when you're with me, I can fly. And it's super catchy and super cool. Like I sent it to the band. I'm like, we need to do this on the outdoor concerts. But
Yeah.
that was a cool one. And then to be more pop, I found this guy both from hearing an interview on NPR and because I love Vigilante Coffee so much, and he like paired with them to make a bean. This guy Odyssey, have you heard of him? He's local. He's from like Silver Spring, but he's a hip hop artist. And that's another guy I've been into. So just listening. And I guess for reading, I'm doing Neil deGrasse Tyson's book right now, Astrophysics for People in a Hurry. And I'm sort of a history buff, so I'm reading back up on my Greek myths too, because I'm a huge nerd, obviously. So
Oh, wow.
there you go.
Yeah, so good to know. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Sure.
All right, so we're going to the last question, which is, fair to say that we are still in a pandemic.
Yep.
It has been more than a year.
Yep.
So my biggest question, and I can say concern, is how pandemic is changing the music industry for musicians.
Yeah. So this question for me is I have I'm in a different spot, I guess, or a different, I don't want to say position, a different like situation than a lot of musician friends I know. So for me, again, I'm like so thankful, blessed, whatever word you want to use, for my job in the U.S. Navy band because it's so stable. Like, and we haven't been playing, not doing much. We recorded for some things here and there. I do like master classes, like, I'll talk on Zoom like we are right now, or listen to kids play and give feedback or whatever. We're doing things like that. And the band is still running some of the normal operations, but like more or less, we're not doing the concerts. We're not doing like the in-person things really. Right. But even through all that, just being on the Navy, salary and the healthcare and stuff, like it's been fine for us. I just have to like, maintain the kids and do when they ask me to do stuff, I just do it. But like, it's been stable for me. Now that's not the same. Like I play gigs, not this year, but I play things like wedding band gigs, like I'm in this one called Bachelor Boys, or like big band things, or pit gigs, all these things. And of course, the people that rely on those, like let's say take the wedding band for example. If you're like a singer in a wedding band, like you're the lead singer, you usually like you'll bring the gear and you set the gigs and all this stuff, and they'll do 2 or 3 a weekend, like from April to November or something, and that's like how they make money. Obviously that's not happening right now, and they've had to like a lot of these friends have had to just start doing other things, man. And so I guess what I think might change with the music industry is I think people have gotten better at recording themselves. So I would guess that like self-made projects are probably going to like people have a better blueprint of how to do that. But I also do think once this is over, I think that there's going to be a huge appetite, at least for a year or two, for live music, which is going to be really exciting. So I hope that happens soon, and I hope it holds. I guess like from the other perspective of like teaching instead of just playing, like I've been teaching a lot of, maybe you have too, Lydia, I'm not sure, but over Zoom, and
Yes.
I think it's possible that some of the techniques from that can help make people less afraid to approach people across the country for lessons, but at the same time, like it's just not the same thing either. So I think that there's some technology that band directors or anyone have picked up through this that they can maybe use to like expedite projects in the future. Like I know my band director at the school I teach at makes them like submit, and then they put together a thing with that. And like so I think from that perspective, the music industry might, some things might be better or faster to put together, but at the same time, I don't, there's no like, when you're like playing with the, something for someone in person, or you get to like play with them, it's just, it's totally different on Zoom, you know what I mean? But
Yes. Yeah.
I do hope that people like they come to the shows, they come to the orchestra concerts, they come to the jazz show, combo shows, or whatever it is, you know what I mean? I hope it all like comes back and people haven't all like given up. But I do know that like a lot of people, it's just unfortunately here, and there just isn't much of a safety net for a lot of those people like that, like I have, and I feel for them bad, you
Yeah,
know.
well, good luck to all of us, and hopefully that we'll have a safe reopen in the summer, and
Yeah,
everyone will get back to normal as soon as possible.
definitely.
Speak of that, so this month is also Women's Month, right?
Yep.
Do you have any shout outs to amazing women, strong women that in your life? So you
Oh,
want
sure.
to give a shout out?
Yeah, I mean, well, I guess the main one would be my wife, of course. So I mentioned earlier, Megan, who's again the CHAW of the music program, the chair of the music program at CHAW. Sorry, I'm tripping over my words. So it's amazing. Like, so I think for us being a couple, like she understands for me, like when I have to like get a concerto ready or I need to like do something,
Mhm.
she's so selfless that she'll just like give her time and like make sure the kids are cool and like the groceries get here or whatever, like just so I can practice. And then of course I try to do the same thing for her. But like we understand as musicians, she understands when I like need the
Yeah.
time to myself. And like she's amazing, and she's so selfless with like making sure that we all have time to do the things we need to do and we want to do. And if she wasn't around, I wouldn't be able to do all the things that I do as well as I
Well,
do
what
now.
can I say, right? The teamwork is the best work.
It is, yeah. And of course, when she needs to teach, I take the kids too. Like when she has all the Suzuki students on Saturday mornings, it's
Yeah.
it's dad time all day. You know what I mean? And I'm so happy to do it. You know what I mean? It's great. So yeah, she'd be the one for sure. Yeah.
Thank you for so much for sharing with us. All right, well, thank you so much for today. And we're such a pleasant to know you through all these different interview questions. So welcome to Shell anytime if you have any tips and tricks about,
Absolutely.
yes, about practice, about musical apps that can help teachers.
Yeah, for
Please
sure.
share with us as well.
Yeah, just reach out. No problem. I'm super happy to give advice anytime. Of course, I love music. I love teaching. Hit me up. No problem.
All right. Thank you, Jonathan. So good to have
Yeah.
you today. Have a good one.
Thanks for having me, Leah. Bye.